Hello guys. Today we are going to discussing about the one of the catecholamine and central neurotransmitter which found both in central nervous system as well as peripheral nervous system, and it is important in various pathophysiological condition in our and maintaining in our body's physiological system, that is the dopamine. So basically it's belong to the family that is called catecholamines. The hormone epinephrine, norepinephrine, and that is other catecholamine are derived basically from dopamine. They all follow the same pathway, and it's plays a significant role in learning, goal detected behavior, regulation of the hormone, and also involved in the motor control. So dopamine is a monoamine neurotransmitter. It's produced in the dopaminergic neuron in the ventral tegmental area in the substance nigra, midbrain, and the arcuate nucleus of the hypothalamus. In the periphery, dopamine is also found, which having a plays an important role in kidney, where it's basically act or maintain or produce the renal vasodilation, diuresis, and natriuresis. Dopamine's neurons are most widely distributed than those the other monoamines, and it's found in the hypothalamus, olfactory bulb, midbrain, substance nigra, ventral tegmental area, and in the periaqueductal gray and retina. So site of synthesis, neuronal tissue, adrenal medulla, basically synthesized from you can say that it is tyrosine. From beginning it is actually phenylalanine, which is converted to the tyrosine. Then there is a process that I will discuss in later on. Then the enzyme which is mainly responsible, that is the tyrosine hydroxylase. It's a rate limiting enzyme, and noradrenaline and adrenaline formed in the same pathway. Hemobolinic acid is the final metabolite, means after metabolism of dopamine, that is the hemobolinic acid that is produced. Now the biosynthesis of dopamine, you can see that that is the L-phenylalanine amino acid. The enzyme which is mainly responsible, that is the phenylalanine hydroxylase, which converted to the L-tyrosine. Tyrosinase or tyrosine hydroxylase, it converted to the L-dehydroxyphenylalanine, that is known as L-dopa. Then with the help of dopa decarboxylase, it is converted to the dopamine. On the other hand, right hand side, if you can see that the L-tyrosine, with the help of dopa decarboxylase, it is converted to the tyramine. And from tyramine, with the help of enzyme CYP2D6, it is converted to the dopamine. But from conversion from tyramine to the dopamine with the help of enzyme CYP2D6, it is very less amount. Then we go through the metabolism or degradation of the dopamine. Now dopamine, you can see that dopamine, in the below line you can see that there is MAO, that is monoamino oxidase, which convert the dopamine into 3,4-dihydroxyphenyl acetaldehyde. 3,4-dihydroxyphenyl acetaldehyde with the help of enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase, it is converted to the DOPAC, 3,4-dihydroxyphenyl acetic acid. And dopel, that is with the antidiuretic hormone, it is converted to the dopate, 3,4-dihydroxyphenyl ethanol. Now 3,4-dihydroxy, this dopac and dopac further with the help of enzyme that is known as COMT, catechol orthomethyl transferase, it is converted into the homovanillic acid. That is, this is the end product or metabolic end product of the dopamine. Now in this way you can see that this is the starting enzyme, that is the monoamino oxidase, which are going to metabolize the dopamine into the homovanillic acid. And then there is other pathway. We are going to the other pathway, that is dopamine with the help of direct enzyme, that is catechol orthomethyl transferase. It is converted to 3-methoxytyramine. Now 3-methoxytyramine with the help of enzyme monoamino oxidase, it is converted to 3-methoxy-4-hydroxyacetaldehyde. Then with the help of enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase, it is converted to the homovalenic acid. So this is the synthesis from phenylalanine tyrosine to the dopamine, and with the help of enzyme monoamino oxidase COMT, there is the end product is the homovanillic acid. So this is the synthesis and metabolism of the dopamine. Dopamine is synthesized from phenylalanine or tyrosine via the sequential reaction catalyzed by the phenylalanine hydroxylase or tyrosine hydroxylase and dopa decarboxylase. It can also be synthesized from the tyramine in the minor pathway with the help of enzyme, that is known as CYP2D6. Dopamine effectively degraded into the main inactive metabolite DOPAC and homovalenic acid via a series of reaction and mediated predominantly by the variety of enzyme, that is monoamino oxidase, catechol orthomethyl transferase, aldehyde dehydrogenase and antidiuretic hormone. Now dopamine synthesis and phasic and tonic transmission. Basically, if we are considering, it's a primary metabolic route involving in two-step synthesis. First, tyrosine hydroxylase converted to the L-dopa, which can be converted to the dopamine. Then this dopamine is transported from the cytosol via vesicular monoamine transporter, that is known as VM82, into the synaptic vesicle, where is stored until released into the synaptic cleft. So ultimately dopamine is synthesized in the neuron, and after synthesizing it with the help of VM82, it is stored into the synaptic vesicle, where it is stored, and whenever signal will come and influence the synaptic vesicle, then only dopamine will get released into the synaptic cleft. Dopamine degradation pathway, that is associated with the monoamino oxidase and catechol orthomethyl transferase, which is present in the outer mitochondrial membrane, and dopamine receptor that are present both in the presynaptic cleft and also postsynaptic cleft, and which also include the dopamine transporter, which we will known as DAT, dopamine transporter. Now here you can see that this is the from tyrosine L-dopa dopamine, then it's stored in the vesicle. From the vesicle, when action potential nerve impulse is reach into the axonal terminal, it will stimulate the vesicle, then this vesicle release the dopamine into the synaptic cleft, and postsynaptic as well as presynaptic, in the both portion there is a dopaminergic receptor are present. So this dopamine bind to this receptor and responsible for its pharmacological action, and there is a dopamine transporter, that is DAD, which transport the dopamine from the synaptic cleft to the presynaptic terminal. So there is a two type of transmission, one is phasic transmission and another one is tonic transmission. In phasic transmission, when action potential come, it will stimulate the vesicle and it will release the dopamine and it will bind to the dopamine receptor. In case of the tonic transmission, spontaneous firing without presynaptic action potential, and there is a the basic axonal membrane or neuronal membrane, there is a spontaneous firing without an action potential or nerve impulse. They influence the vesicle to release the dopamine, and this dopamine bind to the release into the synaptic cleft, and further that it will bind to the dopamine receptor and it will responsible for showing the pharmacological action. So In that you can see that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, that is also carrying the dopamine from the synaptic cleft to the postsynaptic terminal of the neuron. So that is the one another one reason. So here you can see that the synthesis, the storage, then coming up of action potential. Even without an action potential, there is a tonic transmission, vesicle release the dopamine. This dopamine come to the synaptic cleft. From synaptic cleft it bind to the dopamine receptor, and it will showing the or responsible for the pharmacological action of the dopamine in our physiological system. Dopamine receptor then we come to the dopamine receptor now. Before that we are discussing what is dopamine, from where this dopamine will get synthesized, and how it will store in vesicle, how it will release, and how it will come. Now the most and important thing is dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter, it's a catecholamine. It's released into the synaptic cleft, means there should be a dopaminergic receptor. The though in those dopaminergic receptor, this dopamine will get bind, and it will responsible for the showing of pharmacological activity. So dopamine receptor are widely expressed in the central nervous system, but you can also found in the peripheral part of the body, like in blood vessel, kidney, heart, retina, and adrenal, and controlling the catecholamine release and the renin-angiotensin system. D1 and D2 are the most abundantly expressed dopaminergic receptor in the brain. D1 being the amount or concentration of the D1 receptor is highest, and the two are rarely co-expressed in the same cell. Means in same cell it's rarely you will found D1 and D2 receptor. Normally in general in one type of cell you will find one type of receptor only, but in rarely sometimes some cell contain both the receptor. Based on their structure and pharmacological properties, dopamine basically act through the G protein coupled receptor, and have been subdivided into D1 like receptor, which include D1 and D5, and D2 like receptor, which include D2, D3, and D4. D1 like receptor are mostly found in the caudate, putamen, striatum, nucleus accumbens, substance nigra, pars reticulata, olfactory valve, amygdala, and frontal cortex. And D2 like receptor are basically expressed in the striatum, the lateral part of the globus pallidus, core of the nucleus accumbens, ventral tegmental area, hypothalamus, amygdala, cortical areas, hippocampus, and pituitary. So one by one we will come through this one, and we will discuss about that. D1 and D5 receptor are located in the postsynaptic dopamine mediated cell, where D2, D3 can be localized both post and presynaptically. So D1 and D5, D1 type receptor basically located in the postsynaptic dopamine mediated cell, whereas D2 like including D2, D2 and D3 can be localized both post and presynaptically. D4 receptor are largely expressed in the retina, and D1 and D5 receptor are coupled to the G alpha S OLF protein, stimulating the production of the second messenger, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. On the other hand, D2, D3 and D4 receptor are coupled with the G alpha I-O protein, which basically inhibit the production of the intracellular CMP, because we know that G protein coupled receptor basically acts through the second messenger. There is different type of the second messenger are there. Among that second messenger, adenyl cyclase dependent CMP is one of the major and most important one. So in this case D1 they are basically increase the CMP level, but in case of the D2 type, they will basically decrease the CMP level and then they will show the pharmacological response. Now this is the peripheral part, distribution of the dopaminergic receptor and dopaminergic pathway in the central and peripheral nervous system. This is the diagram A. It is the basically peripheral part of the body. Expression of the dopamine and dopamine receptor D1 or D2 like receptor in the periphery. Dopamine where the continuous black arrow is produced in the kidney and gut, while dopamine receptor dashes black arrow are located mainly in the retina, blood vessel, heart, adrenal and kidney. Then we will considering about the what are the function of dopamine in this particular area. After that we will go for CNS portion. So now we come to the first eye. Dopamine is released by the unique set of amacrine cell and activated D1 and D2 dopamine receptor distributed throughout the retina. Multiple dopamine dependent physiological mechanism result in increase of the signal flow through the cone circuit and the diminution of signal flow through the rod circuit. Then come to the blood vessel. Dopamine is also synthesized there by tubule cell and discharged into the tubular fluid. Its main action include the increasing the blood supply to the kidney, increase the glomerular filtration rate and increase the excretion of the sodium in the urine. Then heart. Dopamine is a catecholamine that act by the inotropic effect on the heart muscle, causes a more intense contraction that in turn can rise the blood pressure. Then adrenal. Dopamine is known to play a role in the modulation of the aldosterone and catecholamine secretion from the adrenal gland. In kidney, dopamine stimulate both D1 and D2 receptor including natriuresis, diuresis and enhance the renal blood flow by the renal vasodilation at higher concentration. When adrenergic stimulation prevails, dopamine increase the renal blood flow through the stimulation of cardiac output. In gut, dopamine in gastrointestinal tract stimulate the exocrine secretion, inhibit the gut motility, modulate the sodium absorption and mucosal blood flow and is protective against the gastroduodenal ulcer disease. So in peripheral portion, this is the action of the dopamine in pharmacological action of the dopamine. Now we come to the central nervous system or dopaminergic pathway in the CNS. So here you can see that ventral tegmental area is the source of mesocorticolimbic system. Dopaminergic neuron projected to the cortex via mesocortical pathway, that you can see that is the indicated by the blue line, and to nucleus accumbens via mesolimbic pathway, that is indicated by the red line. Dopamine neuron in the substance nigra project to the striatum and from the nigrostatial pathway, that is indicated by the yellow line. The tuberoinfundibular pathway, that is indicated by the green, is formed by the dopaminergic neuron that project from the hypothalamic nuclei, arcuate nucleus and periventricular nucleus to the pituitary. So one by one we will discuss this pathway. So before that we are coming just what are the different dopamine receptor and where is their location, where is the main function. So if we considering the D1 receptor, basically it is found in high concentration in the mesolimbic, nigrostatial and mesocortical area such as substance nigra, olfactory bulb, nucleus accumbens, caudata, putamen, striatum, expressed in low level in the cerebellum, hippocampus, thalamus, hypothalamus and kidney. The major function, the D1 receptor and dopamine bind to D1 receptor, the major function they are playing the voluntary movement, regulate the growth and development, regulation of the feeding, affect, uh, attention, reward, sleep, impulse control, reproductive behavior, working memory, learning, control of the renin in the kidney. D2 receptor, basically this D2 receptor, they are expressed in high level in substance nigra, olfactory bulb, Q data, putamen, VAT, ventral tegmental area, nucleus accumbens, found in low level in the hypothalamus, septum, kidney, cortex, heart, blood vessel, adrenal gland, gastrointestinal tract, and sympathetic ganglia. They are basically involved in the working memory, reward, motivation function, regulate the blood pressure, maintaining the renal function, maintaining the gastrointestinal motility, responsible for vasodilation, regulate the locomotion, presynaptic receptor inhibit the locomotion, and postsynaptic receptor are responsible for the activation of the locomotion. And D3 receptor, basically this it will found in the CNS, not found in the outside of the CNS. Basically olfactory bulb, nucleus accumbens are the main area, involved in endocrine function, cognition, emotion, regulation of the oculomotor function, and modulate the endocrine function. And D4, which you can found in the uh, substantia nigra, hippocampus, amygdala, thalamus, hypothalamus, kidney, frontal cortex, heart, blood vessel, adrenal gland, gastrointestinal tract, sympathetic ganglia, globus pallidum, lowest receptor found in the CNS, then all dopamine receptor. So it is basically responsible for the maintaining of the renal function, maintaining the gastrointestinal motility, responsible for vasodilation, maintaining the blood pressure, modulate the cognitive function. And D5, which you can find substantia nigra, hypothalamus, hippocampus, dental gyrus, kidney, heart, blood vessel, adrenal gland, gastrointestinal tract, and sympathetic ganglia. Involved in the pain process, affective function, endocrine function of the dopamine. So this is the different dopamine receptor D1 to D5, and their location and their function or pharmacological action in normal physiological condition. Now in CNS nigrostatial pathway, if we are considering substantia nigra or striatum, which is responsible for the motor control, death of this neuron, what happen if the damage or death of this particular neuron, which can responsible for the development of the disease, that is called Parkinsonism disease. Then there is mesolimbic and mesocortical pathway, ventral tegmental area to the nucleus accumbens, amygdala and hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex, which also involved in the memory, motivation and emotional response, reward and desire, addiction, and can cause hallucination, and the disease schizophrenia occur if these two systems are not work or function properly. Then there is tuberoinfundibular pathway, that is basically located in the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. It regulates the hormonal regulation in our body, maternal behavior, basically there is maintaining the pregnancy sensory process which involved in this process. Then dopaminergic system, the nigrostatial system, the cell body of this system are located in the substantia nigra and projected to the neurostatium, the caudate nucleus and the basal ganglia. The caudate nucleus and the basal ganglia. The subsystem regulate the selection, initiation, excretion of motor behavior. It is the subsystem that is affected in Parkinsonism disease. In that disorder, the dopaminergic neuron in the substance nigra dies, leading to the difficulties with the motor control. And we are a little bit discussing about the Parkinsonism disease, which related to the dopaminergic system. Movement control is accomplished by the complex interaction among various group of the nerve cell in the central nervous system. One such important group of neurons is located in the substance nigra in the ventral midbrain. Neurons of this substantia nigra communicate with the neurons of the basal ganglia by liberating the neurotransmitter, that is dopamine. Such an interaction at the biochemical level is basically responsible for the organism movement. In first picture you can see that, and there is release of the dopamine, and then it will postsynaptic cleft bind, and it will basically involve in the maintaining the normal movement of an organism. But what happened in case of the Parkinsonism disease? Either the dopaminergic neuron will get damaged, will get die, or they are not capable of producing the enough amount of the dopamine. So in neurons, the substantia nigra progressively degenerated. As a result, the amount of the dopamine available for neurotransmission is getting lower. The biochemical imbalance manifests with the typical clinical symptom that include the resting tremor, rigidity, poor balance, and motor coordination. Then mesolimbic system we are discussing. It has its cell bodies in the ventral tegmental area. It's project to the several part of the limbic system, which include nucleus accumbens, ventral portion of the striatum, amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex. So the mesolimbic system has been linked to the reward related behavior. Dopamine level in the nucleus accumbens increase in response to both natural reinforcers such as food, drink, and sex, and drug of abuse such as amphetamine and cocaine. Inputs to prefrontal region help to integrate what the organism is doing at the time with the appropriate behavioral response to the rewarding stimulus. Means it's basically control our food habit, drink habit, sexual activity, and sometimes some drug which will interfere in case of drug abuse and drug addiction, they will interfere in this system. It's basically maintain the integrity of an organism, what the organism doing at what time, at what response, and what behavior the organism will shown, that will totally depend upon the mesolimbic system. So if you considering the normal one example, that is the drug addiction. So you can see that for our food, music, sex, and all other activities, the frontal cortex, nucleus accumbens, and ventral tegmental area are basically responsible. So what happen? All drug directly or indirectly target the reward system by flooding the brain with extracellular dopamine in the limbic region, include the nucleus accumbens. So in this condition, we need sufficient or required amount of the dopamine to maintain our food habit, music, sexual activity, and all other things. The body compensates for the surges in dopamine by producing and less dopamine or decreased dopamine receptor, reinforcing the user to increase the drug intake to bring the dopamine level back to the baseline. So what happened? Normal condition, there is normal dopamine level, so I am behaving like as a normal individual being. My mood, music, sexual activity, and all other activities are related to the okay and fine. But what happen in case of the some drug, and in case of the abusing sub drug, there is a decrease in the dopamine, there is a decreased level of the dopamine. So what we need at that particular time, we need that particular drug to release the dopamine into the synaptic cleft, so that dopamine will come and bind to the receptor, and they will responsible for your mood, food, music, and sexual and all other activities. So you will depend upon a drug. So if you are continuously using the drug, so you will depend upon that particular drug. Without drug, your mood will not okay, your the habit, music, and all other social activity and sexual activity, that will not be normal. So at that time we need that drug to release more amount of the dopamine and to maintain the normal uh, habitual or normal physiological activity. It is the one of the example of the drug addiction. Then mesocortical system, uh, here the cell bodies are located in the ventral tegmental area. The action of this cell projected to much of the cortex, especially motor and premotor cortex, as well as prefrontal cortex, where they influence a variety of the mental function. One of this function is working memory, which allows us to keep information, means online. Working memory means you are in active stage. For performance, the tasks were uh, and planning, strategy development, preparation for something, solve any problem. So this is are associated with this one. If this pathway is connected with the abnormal functioning in psychosis such as schizophrenia, so if what happen, if there is a less amount of the dopamine, there is a damage of the dopaminergic neuron, so your online activity will be get deactivated, then you cannot perform your tasks properly, you can't plan for anything, you cannot develop any strategy, and you cannot solve any problem also. So what it is called, it is psychosis or the disease associated with this one, that is the schizophrenia. It is thought to be associated with the negative symptom of the schizophrenia, which include alogia, marked poverty of speech, and evaluation, a lack of motivation. So here in this picture you can see that normal level in the human brain, that is indicated in red color, but elevated level of the dopamine in the brain of the schizophrenia patient, that is indicated in this particular area. Then tuberoinfundibular system. The tuberoinfundibular pathway refer to a population of dopamine neuron that basically project from the arcuate nucleus in the tubular region of the hypothalamus to the median ambience. Dopamine release at this site regulate the secretion of the prolactin from the anterior pituitary gland. So dopamine will be responsible for the regulation of the release of the hormone prolactin from the anterior pituitary gland. Some antipsychotic drug block the dopamine in the tuberoinfundibular pathway, or due to the some reason and some pathological condition, if tuberoinfundibular pathway will get blocked, which can causes an increase in the blood prolactin level, hyperprolactemia. Some antipsychotic drug block the dopamine in the tuberoinfundibular pathway, which can causes the increases in the blood prolactin level, that is known as hyperprolactinemia. This can causes the abnormal lactation even in men also. Disruption of the menstrual cycle in women, and visual problem, headache, and sexual dysfunction. So this is the thing. Dopamine basically it's a catecholamine, and it's a neurotransmitter. It's act both centrally and peripherally. Peripherally there is eye, kidney, heart, blood vessel, the different part it will act, and it has different physiological function in central nervous system. there is different pathways there, mesolimbic, mesocortical, nigrostatial pathway, and there is tuber infundibular system. So every system has a one physiological role in our body. One physiological regulate one or more than one physiological thing in our body to maintain the normal physiological activity. So what happen in some cases it is also associated with the different dopaminergic receptor D1 to D5 and located in different part of the body, and there are different pharmacological action is also there. So what happens, sometimes there is a lack amount of the dopamine is secreted, and sometimes there is a more amount of the dopamine is secreted. So when lack amount of the dopamine is secreted, there is some pathological condition occur or disease condition occur. Some of these are like Parkinsonism disease, and some of these are like schizophrenia, and sometimes it will also related to the drug abuse, drug addiction, and sometimes it is also regulate to our mood, behavior, sexual, social, physiological activity. So this is a dopamine, which is most important catecholamine neurotransmitter, and this is the main thing, how it is synthesized, how it will release, and how it will bind, and via which receptor it will act, and where the receptor are located, where are their pharmacological action. In this portion I cover this all the things. So go through the things, and if you get any doubt, you can consult with me. And this is the reference from where I am collecting the data. And thank you.